welcome to a new episode of the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. I have a very, very cool guest that I actually saw her on Instagram. She is the CrossFit coach of Core City CrossFit and the creator of Core City CrossFit Kids. Helen Taylor, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Not bad. Thank you for coming on. So a little bit, I was scrolling around like Instagram for a little bit, and all of a sudden, like I see like kids like doing like working out at a CrossFit box, and I was like, okay, what is this? And so then I find out that it's like this whole like nonprofit organization, and so I wanted to get you on. So I'm glad we got the chance to talk to you. But first, before the nonprofit stuff, I kind of want to talk about your experience in CrossFit and how did you get involved with CrossFit?
Okay. Um, I started CrossFit about 8 years ago, maybe a little less than 8 years ago. I was I taught martial arts for probably 23 years.
Oh
I
wow.
was a
Okay.
martial arts instructor and I coached, well, we don't call it coaching in martial arts. It's you're an instructor
Hmm.
in martial arts. So I did that for about 23 years. And as I was in that martial arts journey, I started wanting to. My mom was going through some issues with Alzheimer's and
Hmm.
dementia. And I kind of just needed some outlet. And a friend of mine had said, let's train for a marathon. And I had never ran before. So my friend said, okay, let's do this marathon. That'll help get your mind off of things and help you focus on something else. And um, so we thought, okay, let's do this. And neither of us have ever done it before. So they said, hey, let's hire a coach to kind of help train us.
Hmm.
So we hired this coach, and he was a CrossFit coach. And he had been a personal trainer for years and years and years, and then kind of made the switch over to CrossFit. And I really didn't know anything about CrossFit. I just heard that he was a good coach, and we thought, okay, well, let's do this, and
Yep.
he'll help train us. So we started training with him, and we would go to the CrossFit gym to train like when he wasn't coaching.
Hmm.
But the gym was big enough, so I was able to see the classes going on. And I'm like, wow, I don't know if I could ever do something like that. And I thought I'd like to try it. So then, but I had all these stipulations on him. It's so funny because he'd be like, he'd want to do wall balls. And I'm like, no, I have a big run. So I'm not going to do wall balls. Let me do just wall shots, like no, without the squat,
Yeah, yeah.
I would be a pain in the butt for him. But after we did the marathon, I continued training with him and then just decided to try the classes. And then I was just hooked.
Hmm.
I was just addicted. So then, to make a long story short, I um, kind of switched, I retired from martial arts, retired from running marathons and cycling, and then just got into CrossFit. So now, now I'm, coaching CrossFit and, training masters athlete wannabe, you know,
Hmm.
um, so that's where I'm at now.
Very cool. So, did you do any more than one marathon, or how many marathons have you done?
I did 6 full marathons and
Okay.
several halves, and yeah, so that was it. I
Okay.
haven't. Yeah, I've stopped running the longer distances. So I haven't done one since 2017.
Hmm. So do you think that was like hurting your like lower body, like your knees and the ankles and stuff like that, just constantly like running on the pavement or anything like that, or you just were like,
Um,
I'm kind of that's it, I'm done.
I was not a great runner. I did it more for the mental discipline.
Hmm.
Coming from a martial arts background, that we're huge on that mental discipline and disciplining your body to do things that are uncomfortable. So it was just one of those things that I wanted to push myself mentally more than physically.
Okay.
Um, so that was more of that challenge for me. I wasn't a great runner. Still am not a great runner, but I love the challenge of it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So while you were doing those marathons, where you were like kind of like getting I used to run too. Gosh, when you were like boinking a little bit, like on the run. So what would go through your head, or what would you do to kind of say, okay, just shut up and keep on going?
Yeah, I would always tell myself, you've done harder things than this. You know,
Hmm.
if someone else can do it, you can do it. Why are you different than anyone else? So those things would go through my mind. And then obviously when my mom was sick, I would use that, like, hey, you've you've got to stay mentally sharp. You've got to stay physically sharp. This is like your prevention, your medicine, that prevents, will help, slow down some of those other things that happen.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what I would tell myself, a lot.
Okay, very cool. So, your mom had Alzheimer's and dementia. So my dad had dementia, and he actually just passed away like 2 months ago.
Oh,
But
sorry.
it's okay. I mean, I'd rather see him. He wasn't doing the greatest. So
Yeah.
he broke his hip, and then he was in the ICU, and then just he had Parkinson's, and it was a mess. But do you ever worry that you might get Alzheimer's or anything like that as well?
I do. I do. And one of the things that when I was kind of, when my mom was first diagnosed, I was caring for her and I helped my parents are from Greece.
Hmm.
So I'm 100% Greek. My parents barely spoke any English. And so my mom um, didn't really know how to speak English even though she lived here, for a long period of time.
Hmm.
So I had to do everything for her, talk, communicate, everything, doctor's visits. She never drove and all that. Um, so watching her go through this was just horrible. I mean, it was just gut wrenching for me. And I just kept thinking, I don't want this to happen to me. And everything that I read about was saying that, you've got to keep your mind, engaged, constantly learn new things, constantly be, challenging yourself because that'll help
Hmm.
to kind of combat some of those things. And sugar will come, will help, so I really tried to get into all of that and embrace it and learn as much as I can, to help. Because I still, to this day, will test myself. What was that number? 21, 15, 9. What was that?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Did I do the right reps? And
Yeah.
so I use all kinds of games to test myself.
Yeah. So have
Yeah.
you done that game where like you are like almost like on the floor, just like laying there and try to do like math problems at the same time?
Yes, yes. And you're
Yeah.
like, okay. And then I would think, I would ask someone else, did you have problems with that too? Or it wasn't just me, right?
Yeah. So
So
I have a funny story. So I haven't told anybody this except for like my close friends. So my grandmother on my dad's side had Alzheimer's, and so she used to think my mom was her best friends from like back in the 1920s. And
oh,
so she would talk to her and be like, my son Tom, which is my dad's name, he is the best son you could ever have. He always makes sure he takes care of like, his dad and I really do appreciate it. But you know what? He married the biggest witch in the world. Like no one likes her. No one likes
that's
her. And
hilarious.
we can't, we always tell him like, you could do way much better than this person. So like, just
Oh,
find somebody else. And my
that's
mom's sitting there like the first time hearing this ever. And she's like, what
like,
is this? What's
what?
going on? Yeah. So
Oh,
that's my,
funny.
that's my
That's
Alzheimer's funny moment for the
you
family.
have to laugh because the disease is just so bad, when you could find those moments to make light of something and something funny like that, you have to embrace it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, wow, that's funny.
Yeah. So, once you started getting involved with CrossFit, what made you decide to, become a coach?
Well, I was a coach, from my martial art days,
Yeah.
and I was a personal trainer as well. And I mean, that's my passion. I love, coaching. I love, help, just helping and empower people
Hmm.
and just encouraging them and helping people to see, their potential. But especially kids, to me, sorry about my dogs.
Oh
You'll
no,
hear.
you're good. You're
I
good.
have three of them too, so I'm like worried that they're all going to start barking while we're talking. But especially kids, I love coaching adults, but kids has always been my passion. That's always been my specialty,
Hmm.
kind of where I seem to go towards.
Yeah. So, obviously, like every coach has a different style of training and it's different technique of like, teaching people what to do. So, what is your like typical style of like, coaching for like new people or like people that are pretty experienced?
I mean, I think if you asked people around me. I think that they would say I'm a tough coach, but a compassionate coach. I think that, I mean, I don't know. I think everybody would probably say that about themselves, right? Like I just said that. I thought, oh, everybody would say that. But no, for real, I don't, I really like to push people.
Hmm.
But I think that, with all of my years of experience, I feel like I can sense when someone is resisting that, and then I don't. That if you sense that from someone and they're just like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make them, I want them
Hmm.
to feel, I want every experience that they have with me to be a positive one.
Yeah, of course.
I want them to learn something, and I want them to feel good about themselves. So I try to look for, ways to accomplish that sincerely, and not be, just trying to, cheerleader, pat someone on the back kind of thing. I want it to be genuine,
Hmm.
you know, and not, and no nonsense.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of my martial art training comes out like that's like I spent, like I said, over 23 years in martial arts and taekwondo. I'm a fourth degree black belt. And that's like ingrained in me. I can't get rid of it. It's
Hmm.
like who I am. So I sometimes will command, like the way I coach will sometimes be that type of martial arts, a little more commanding and a little more, loud and rigid. Right? I like everything structured.
Yep. Yep. Me
Um,
too. Yeah.
I don't like it when people are late. I don't like it when people are talk during the, when you're talking about the lesson and the stimulus of the workout, and I look at who my students are. We have like a sign up. So I look at who's in class, and then I prepare for each one of those students. Like, hey, I know John can do, RX and this guy, and I know, Jimmy's a competitor, so I'm going to push him a little bit different. And I know this lady's only been here for 2 weeks and she has back issues. So this is what she's going to do. So I have it all figured out. And then when I come and I'm trying to explain it, uh, and if people are talking, it's like, uh-uh,
Hmm. Yeah.
don't do that. I'm
Yep.
going to call you out on it, and I'm going to talk about it, and we'll talk to you about it after class. So I tend to have that martial arts, in me, where, I tend to be very, kind of rigid. And I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if sometimes I think I'm inflexible too. Like I plan it a certain way, and if it doesn't go my way, I'm like, you guys have to do it the way I planned.
Yep, yep, yep. Yeah,
Like,
I'm the same way too. Because when I was personal training and I trained group classes, it would bug the hell out of me with just people like just chatting the whole time, and I'm
yeah,
like,
I'm like, what are you doing?
and then like they do the workout, like you're not even doing the workout
Yeah,
right. Like
yeah,
that's like that's your fault, like not
yeah,
mine.
yeah,
You should have paid attention.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
But
with the mindset of your 23 years of personal train, or I'm sorry, being
martial
an
arts, yeah.
instructor of the martial arts. I know you say you're very structured and regiment with your programs, and like, do you kind of like teach them some of your techniques from like the 23 years of being an instructor to your people that you're coaching at all, or?
Most sometimes if people are struggling, I will, but I use it more with the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kids, I definitely try to bring in a lot more structure to the way I do class. Though, if you watch some of the classes, you probably think, really, you do? But if you would see how chaotic it probably would be, so I try to bring in that structure, and I try to bring in those martial art, I guess the tenets of what we would call them back then, where we talk about, self-control and,
Hmm.
you know, courtesy and integrity and, all those virtues. So we talk about that in class, in my CrossFit classes all the time. Like before we start, it's sit down, what are we going to, what are we going to talk about today? So we try to impart some type of that martial art background in them, and then, tie it into the, CrossFit, training, and lead class that way.
Yeah. So now we're talking about the kids. So obviously you're the creator of Core City CrossFit Kids. So obviously you're up in the Detroit area, and I mean, I've been there once to a University of Michigan football game, and that was
Oh,
it.
okay.
It's
And that's
um
not even Detroit, you
I
know?
know exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
so I heard stories. It's like a pretty rough area, a pretty bad area. So how did you what made you decide to start Core City CrossFit Kids?
Okay. Well, I grew up in an area just outside of Detroit called River Rouge. Well, when growing up, it was not considered a good neighborhood at all. In fact, my friends' parents wouldn't even let them come over my house when they would find out where I lived. They're like, "You can't go over there," So people had this, really scared, just thoughts about the area that we lived in. I grew up in a very multicultural area. My parents, like I mentioned earlier, were immigrants. So this is where they all, settled with cousins and brothers and sisters. So there was a
Hmm.
group of us there. I had a great upbringing there. It was, like I said, very diverse, very multicultural. I had a great experience, but that's not the reputation of that area. Um, so I was born and raised there. And then when I got married, we moved away, probably about 20 minutes south of Detroit.
Hmm.
Um, I started doing CrossFit when I mentioned to you earlier about doing CrossFit with one of the coaches, and it was very local. It was again in the area where I live. And when I started coaching there, I wanted to start a CrossFit Kids program at that gym, and so we did it. It was a great program there, very different from what it is now, but when COVID hit, and I moved gyms after COVID, after the whole the quarantine and all that.
Hmm.
Detroit was in quarantine the longest. In fact, I remember my program started February of last year,
Wow.
maybe the end of February. I almost say, or maybe it was yeah, and none of the kids, the Detroit kids were still virtual in February. Um, and it was crazy. I mean, these kids had had what, almost, 2 full years of no school, no gym classes, no exercise, no outlet. Some parents may not have computers. Some kids live with grandparents who were not very knowledgeable on how to use a computer, with the kids doing, Zoom classes. So I just felt really burdened, to want to, do something
Hmm.
in Detroit, but I didn't know how, because I had left my other gym. We were at home. So a friend of mine, who I found out had opened a CrossFit gym just a year before COVID hit. I saw that they were hiring a coach, and I thought, oh, this is perfect. I love my friends that I knew.
Hmm.
I thought they were great people. I thought I'd love to, and it was like in Detroit. It wasn't in the city. It was in a, kind of an up and coming neighborhood, industrial. And I thought this would be perfect. So I, approached them about, wanting, would they be interested in hiring me as a coach? But I really wanted to talk to them about, would they be interested in having this program? And, they were super supportive.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's how it started. But then the road to get this started was not like I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be so easy. I was thought, yeah, we're going to do CrossFit. Everybody's going to come. This is going to be great. Just wasn't the case.
Yeah. So how did you want it to become a nonprofit in the beginning, or like kind of what were your thoughts just even starting
No,
it?
yeah, the thoughts in the beginning were just to do what I did before, just start a CrossFit Kids program
Hmm.
and be able to, teach the kids CrossFit and really help them to benefit the way we have benefited, the way I have. Um, And what I found in Detroit was was advertising about this program and come do classes, and nobody would come. And I'm like, no kids would come. And I'm thinking, okay, what's going on? So then I started, when the schools went back, I started going to the schools.
Hmm.
I started asking around, some of the teachers and principals, coaches, gym teachers. I have a CrossFit gym right down here, and no, I'm not kidding you when I say this. I'm telling you, 90% of the people that I talked to did not know what CrossFit was.
I could believe it. I could
I
definitely
mean,
believe it.
and when I did my L1 or L2, when I did my L2, I was telling the workers, the CrossFit teachers, this. And they had a hard time believing it. They're like, really? I have a hard time. I'm like, you would not know. I went to principals, coaches, schools, you're talking about, a gym coach. You'd think that they would know, and nobody knew what CrossFit was.
No.
And people were asking me, is it body movements? What is it? So then I realized what an uphill battle I had to try to teach and educate people what we do,
Hmm.
what it is we do. So I would explain it and show them and offer to come do a demonstration at the school and invite them over to the gym. And I did have I had a couple coaches come and check out the gym. And I did have one school allow me to come in and do a demonstration, which was awesome.
That's
Uh,
cool. Yeah.
yeah, that was really awesome. I have pictures and videos of that. The whole school was there.
Yeah.
It was pretty incredible, and we were able to, do CrossFit, and so
Hmm.
it was really tough. I had to actually just show people what we do, and I didn't expect that, you know.
Yeah. That's cool. That's really cool. So when you were telling all these teachers that had no clue of what CrossFit was, um, did you notice like I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there, but do you notice like a lot of them are pretty unhealthy and didn't really work out at all, or and that's you think the reason why they don't really know about CrossFit because they're pretty much like they have like a sedentary lifestyle?
I would say I did run into some of that, but not the majority. I think that I run into a couple of things when you're CrossFit, I think tends to be a little bit more of an more
Yes.
expensive
Hmm.
type of fitness. It's more on the higher end, more in some of the areas that I am in. I mean, you just can't, families can't afford that. It's
Yeah.
just out of reach and it's just not attainable. So
Hmm.
I think that another part was that it's just not accessible to a lot of families and a lot of communities. It's just too much money.
Yeah. So are there a good amount of CrossFit gyms in Detroit?
No, just two.
Wow.
There's
Okay.
one there's one actually in the city in like downtown area. And then our gym is outside, is in Detroit. And we're like in, like I said, like an up and coming neighborhood, more
Hmm.
industrial. Um, it's pretty cool neighborhood, you know.
Okay.
Um, yeah, not a lot, where we're at, there's not like a lot of residential, but we have a school nearby and churches and some, like junkyard, stuff like that. Small businesses around there.
Hmm. Yeah. So, how did you get the kids to and the teachers and like the principals to kind of buy into your program?
It no, it took I would go to the school and I would have flyers. They would just pacify me. Sure, we'll take it. Sure, we'll look at it. Sure, you could come talk to me. Sure, we'll have a meeting, and then it would never happen.
Yeah.
And so I remember feeling very discouraged, but I made a ton of flyers and I went to this one school that's right across the street from our gym. And I just asked them, hey, I'm offering free classes to just so you could come see it.
Hmm.
This is a great program. I was showing them on my phone, like Instagram. I was showing them videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I left them with these flyers, and I left and I thought nothing's ever going to happen. And then I remember the only way I had my classes even running was the owner. Okay, shh, sorry about that.
No, you're
The
okay.
one of the owners of my gym also a basketball coach for his son's team.
Hmm.
So it was off-season training. So he brought the whole basketball team for me to train the boys. So I was able to run the program with the whole basketball team, eighth grade basketball team, because I couldn't get anyone else to come do CrossFit.
Hmm.
And one day, I was working out at the gym by myself, and I had someone knock on the door, and it was one of the teachers from across the street, and she brought the stack of flyers that I had given them, and she said, "I found these. Can you tell me what this is?" And so I explained it to her, and then she said, "All right, we need to do this. Our kids need it. And let me, do some work." And then she ended up on my behalf going to the principal, talking to him, having him come and talk to me at the gym, seeing the gym, letting me, try it out. So he gave me like a little trial basis. So he said, "Okay, we'll see who wants to do this. If any of our kids wants to do it, we'll send them over."
Hmm.
Um, but it was first, parents had to bring them over, and it was just very hit or miss. And I would get, some kids, some wouldn't. And it went on like that for a while, you know.
Yeah.
But then, then we had I mean, I don't know, do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, have at it.
Well, all right. So the exciting part was that this teacher is amazing. I owe her everything, like to help, because without her, I don't think this would have ever. I would have still been knocking on doors and um, still telling kids about this. Um, so they ended up letting me come to the school and do a demonstration. And what I did was I asked them if some of the kids that had been coming and training with me, I asked if we can have those kids, because they were members of that school, students
Yeah.
of the school, to do the demonstration. So I had I had them on stage doing some clean and jerks and some snatches. And then I had a little rowing workout and burpees over the barbell. And the kids were just amazed. I mean, it was awesome. People had donated gift cards. So we had like 300 gift cards we passed out to the school, to the kids. So it ended up being a pretty good event. And then all the teachers were there and some of the parents. So from there, we ended up, sitting down and talking about coming up with an after school program. Um, and so now we are part of their curriculum for the after school program, like for a
Oh,
last.
very cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you could do band, you could do dance, or you could do CrossFit. And the kids get to sign up for it, and it's pretty awesome program, and it's been going amazing. I mean,
Awesome.
it's been going great. I have like 32 kids.
That's cool. That's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
cool.
and they're great kids, so it's
Yeah.
been pretty awesome.
So are the parents like very, very like into the CrossFit stuff now since their kids are in it? Like what are the parents thinking about this whole thing?
I try to get parents to watch and be as involved as possible. I have some parents that are, curious, and wanted to come in and watch, and maybe some that, not so much,
Hmm.
but so we had both. But I try to get them in. I'm like, hey, look, and I take pictures and I try to, send them to the parents. And, when they come pick up their kids, I try to make a big deal about them seeing the kids and what they're doing. So, just trying to get the word out, trying to get the parents involved,
Hmm.
and seeing if they want to do any classes.
Yeah, yeah. So that's like so my son's 7 and I have a 4-year-old daughter. And so when he was, I think it was like 4 or 5, actually 5 or 6, we would do this thing called Next Station because he would see me work out in the basement and be like, okay, I want to do what daddy does. And so
Uh,
we have like a 3 pound kettlebell and he
yeah.
would do kettlebell swings with a 3 pound kettlebell and like And I remember like even younger, I think he was like 3 maybe. He saw the barbell with the weights on the ground, and so he was trying to pick it up. And so I went behind him to pick it up for him, and he kind of like thought he did a deadlift. And so
Oh,
he was obsessed with like working out after that. Now my
oh, that's awesome.
and now my daughter, she's all about it now too. So we have like 3 pound like dumbbells, and she'll do curls, and then like she'll
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and then she'll like flex and be like, "Daddy, look at me," and like
I love it.
she like that, she go
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. So
Oh,
that
I love it. I
yeah.
love it.
So do those kids like do the exact same thing that my kids do?
Oh, I have so much fun teaching them because they get so excited. You
Mm-hmm.
would Some of the videos I have, I mean, so it makes me want to cry because they're so happy. Some kids don't ever get acknowledgement and affirmation and don't get recognized and here we're trying to make sure that that they are that they could see that they have potential and they could see that they can do things
Yep.
and that they can be good and it's just exciting and I just love it and I love seeing their reaction and some of them will dance and it's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
So did they get like really hooked at like the first session, or like obviously like kids, some kids are different too, but like how long does it typically take for a kid to be like, okay, I love doing this. This is my jam now.
Yeah, I have several who started with me from the very beginning of like the very big the end of last year school year, and they're back this year, and they came over the summer. They would so there's I have a core group that just is hooked. They're
Hmm.
just like, and they're obsessed with clean and jerks. They just want to clean and jerk and back squat and and bar muscle ups. They just can't. They want to get that bar muscle up. They're
Yep.
just obsessed.
Yeah.
So Wednesday is a big bar. We're gonna bar muscle up progression day, because they want to get this bar muscle up. So yeah, I have a certain a core group, and then another group that's just like some kids are just very scared and shy. Um, some are don't want to try it, don't want to get hurt, don't want to be sore, don't want to put in an effort.
Hmm.
So you get a variety of kids, and I don't want to force anyone to do it. I want them to be there because they want to, but I try to push them a little bit to at
Yeah.
least give it a shot. Give
Yep.
me at least a month or two, and then if you don't like it, go to band or go do something else.
Hmm.
I don't care, but I just, I want them to at least try.
Yeah. So do you, so if like let's just say someone has like an issue with like one of the movements, do you kind of like scale it down a little bit more so they can just do it, and they'd be like,
Oh,
listen, and like, listen, you just did the work, you just did the movement, but it was the scale version.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have, I mean, they don't have a clue too as to what's scaled and what's not,
Hmm.
but, I have, PVC pipes and I have PVC pipes filled with sand. And then I have training bars and then I have the regular male female bars.
Yeah.
They all, all the training bars, everything looks the same as the adult bars. So they all look pretty similar. And the PVC pipes are just what we all begin with anyway. So I
Yep.
always, just don't even make an issue of it. Like, hey, I'm just like, hey, pick this up. This is what we're gonna do. Um, and then we say, okay, now that you're ready, let's go something heavier. Let's grab that sand, the one with the
Hmm.
sand in it, and then let's get the training bar. And then now I have kids using, a 35-pound bar. And usually, unless I have an older, um, usually we stop there with, the 35-pound bar. I could add weight to it, but depending on the movement, but we don't go to a 45-pound bar yet.
Yeah. So have you ever thought I don't know if you've done it or yet, but have you made like these pieces of like circular wood, like plywood?
Yeah, I've thought of that, but I
Yeah.
actually have I had a donation. I had a company donate. So we actually have those Rogue 5-pound plates that
Oh,
look,
very cool.
yeah,
Okay.
they look ginormous.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
look like they're 45-pound plates. I
Yep.
wish I could stencil a 4 in the front and use them myself,
Yeah.
and be, look what I'm snatching. But yeah, so the kids think those are the best thing ever. And then I do have some thin, like 10 pounders, 5 pounders. So yeah, when we have and all the smaller ones too. But for the big training plates, I have those nice Rogue ones.
Okay. Awesome.
Great, yeah.
Yeah. Very
I
cool.
had
Very cool.
I was very fortunate because those things are so expensive. And someone donated. I had said that I needed some training plates because I really wanted to use them. And then someone ended up donating, and I was like, yes, thank you. So it was great.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So what is I forgot to ask this earlier, but like what's the age range for that you have your kids? Obviously, is it like elementary school all the way to like high school, or like what's like the cutoff?
So the cutoff's the ninth grade,
Okay.
and my youngest is third grade. I don't have the manpower for one to do younger kids, um, or older. High school. We could probably, like, if they're in 10th grade, they could probably come into our regular adult class.
Yeah.
And I can sponsor them. If that, I think I had one kid who was in 11th grade that we put in the adult class, um, because he was, too old for my kids and teen program. But yeah, third grade's the youngest.
Okay.
I have to go with my strengths. And my strengths are not the young kids. I never coached those in martial arts, and I never had coached those. And not that I don't care for kids that young, it's just not my strength. It's
No.
just not something I'm used to doing, or want to spend a whole lot of time doing. I
Yeah.
want to I want to be able to give them more meat
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
less games.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
games are fun. We play games. I think, you could, but I just think you can make fitness in general just fun. So we can do back squats and have fun. I don't have
Hmm.
to always play a game with a back squat. So to me, I'd rather be teaching them, you know, um, movements that they will use, as they get older and go into an adult class. I train them just like I basically train them just like I train adults, but
Nice.
scaled,
Yeah.
with scaled weights, and with, a game at the end, and the adults don't get that.
Yeah.
They get accessory work with a game.
Yep, yep. So do you help like feed some of these kids too, or like or do you like do
Yeah.
like afternoon snacks and everything?
Yeah, we do that every class. And basically, if I know of a need, we'll try to meet it. I provide them with snacks after class. They get water and juice or fruit. Oliver, sorry.
No, you're good.
I have two. One's a puppy, and he's just nuts. He's just nuts. He just wants to play all the time. So I I do have like fruit drinks and fruit snacks and stuff if they need it, like before class too. If someone comes in, I have sometimes kids that, miss lunch or didn't get a good lunch and come in and they're like, I'm hungry. I want to eat something. So will definitely do that.
Hmm. Yeah. So is it heartbreaking for you kind of seeing like some kids that can't eat anything or don't eat anything and then come to your class and like ask that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking, when it's just a lot of things I see sometimes,
Hmm.
Um, so we just try to meet the needs, when we see them. We supply tennis shoes and workout clothes, food, and our program is free. Nobody pays for it,
Hmm. Very cool. That's
nobody.
awesome.
Yeah.
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 So how do you get the sponsorships for this program? Like I obviously like you have the community that helps like sponsor. Do you like reach out to like any other companies being like, hey, can you donate anything or can you
Yeah.
like, like hand over like, not, like give us some money to kind of help fund this
Yeah.
program?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely, try to apply for grants and donations. I would I have a hard time. So even if you might know if or know anybody at like where people I could connect with, where I can apply for a grant, like with Noble. Like I don't know, I can't find out like if Noble does have any grants, or Reebok, or Tier.
Hmm.
So if there's like, if you know anybody, or if anybody out there listening knows of anybody that we can connect with, that we can get either apply for a grant, or um, you know um, I mean, the kids need shoes, clothes, and basically that's about what I supply with. Like I said, if I see other needs and we can meet them, we definitely will, like we did with the backpack thing. And we'll probably adopt families for Christmas, and be able to supply food,
Hmm.
gifts, dinner, all that kind of stuff, gift cards, stuff like that.
Hmm. Very cool. So, with the backpacks, actually, I saw that Instagram post that you did. So you donated, was it 330 backpacks?
We got like, now when I did the video, I had 317 backpacks, brand new, with supplies, notebooks, pens, erasers, pencils, folders, notebooks, everything you need, pencil
Hmm.
holders. Every backpack was filled with that. We ended up getting 317 when I did the video. And since the video, I probably had another 20 that kept coming in.
Nice.
It was the most exciting thing. Like I told you earlier, I've never done anything like this before. And I was going to only do it for my kids, like the ones that I have in class,
Hmm.
that I had over the summer. And I thought, I'm just going to get some people to donate for those kids. And I actually had them pick out a backpack. So they got to pick out something really fancy, whatever they wanted. I told them, whatever you want, you pick it out and we're going to get it for you. So then I put this video out on my story, and I, said, hey, I'm doing, my kids. And then I started getting all these messages like, what do you need? And then I thought, I'm going to try to do the whole school. And everybody's like, are you crazy? And I remember one of my friends, when I was telling her this, she goes, all right, just don't get overly excited. Just be thankful for whatever you get. And then the donations just kept coming and coming. And then the local news, Channel 7, picked us up and did a story on us on the kids program. So then we ended up getting um, their feed, their, reaching out, and then people that watch the news sent stuff.
Yep.
So it was the most exciting thing. I had people here from my gym filling backpacks up.
That's awesome. That is so cool. That is so cool.
It was awesome. And then we got to take them all to the school and having an event at the school with having all the kids come pick them out, and have we had popsicles and like healthy treats and stuff, like
Yep.
Cliff Bars. We had
Yeah.
like organic popsicles, Cliff Bars. What else do we have? Welch's fruit snacks, like all kinds of healthy stuff.
Hmm.
So it's fun. Hey guys,
Awesome.
sorry, I'm
No,
so
you're,
sorry.
hey, we could edit it. It's okay.
Hello, Oliver, come here. I don't know what they see out there. I'm so sorry.
It might be my voice too.
Yeah, I know, yeah, yeah. They like it. They're like, hey, oh my goodness. I'm like, oh, this is embarrassing.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I've had some other guests that I was just like sitting there like, oh my gosh, I wish this didn't happen, but it happens.
I know.
So
I'm like, stop it. And I wish I could yell at them the way I would if I wasn't on here.
it's okay. All
I'd be
good.
like, stop it. And then I'd be like, oh, hi. No.
Yeah, all good. All good. Don't worry about it. So I you did mention earlier that you do follow Misfit.
Yes.
So what made you get involved with Misfit?
Um, my previous gym followed Misfits. Um the whole gym did Misfit programming at my old gym, and that's where Sophie Schaff, she's a Misfit
Yeah.
athlete. She's a teens games athlete. So she was there at the gym that I used to train at. So that's how I got involved. And then when I left them to come to Detroit, um, I didn't want to leave Misfits because I love them. I love the whole community and the training, and our my gym owners are awesome. They let me stay with, the programming I'm doing with Misfits, and I don't have to do their program, which I know a lot of boxes like everybody
Do the
to do
programming. Yeah.
programming, which I totally get. I'm just thankful that they let me stay with Misfits, and Misfits had donated. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you. I would say at least 1,000 pieces of clothing, maybe like shorts, tank tops,
That's
bras,
awesome. Yeah.
t-shirts, socks, you name it. They sent over boxes. That was awesome. Misfits, send me more.
Yeah.
Send me more. I need more.
That's awesome. So yeah, I follow Misfit as well. So I've been following them for, oh gosh, I think it's been like 6 years, I
Oh
think.
wow. So you're a lot longer. For
Yeah.
me, about 2, 3, maybe 3 years.
Yeah, I've been following. So I was it three? No, no, I lied. I'm sorry. 4 years, roughly around four
Okay.
years. And so the only reason why I was doing it was because I was following the CrossFit weightlifting, like Mike Bergner's
Oh yeah.
weightlift. Well,
Yeah.
so he had a CrossFit section for his program, and I was following it. And then they said we're going to stop doing CrossFit stuff, and we're just going to deal straight with weightlifting. And I was like, shoot,
Oh,
where am I gonna
yeah.
go? And so I was looking around, and I was like, I checked out Invictus. I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. And like Comp Train, and I was like, I don't know. And then like I saw Misfit, and I was like, hey,
Yeah.
this looks good.
Yeah, the
So
guys are great. They
mhm,
are great. I find it very, very challenging and fun.
yeah,
I just find the programming to be very diverse and fun. I think those guys are great. I've been to the camp. I want to go back again. And Caroline Spencer is my coach. So I do remote coaching with her.
okay, very
Um,
cool. Yeah,
yeah.
so I just do the I just do the online stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so I just do it at a gym like down the street from my house, and it's
Yep,
actually
yep.
the crazy
That's what I
thing.
used to do. Yep.
Yeah, so the crazy thing is the gym that I go to is a Globo gym, but they have one wall that has CrossFit stuff on it.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
I was,
awesome.
yeah. So like, the only problem is I wish they opened the doors at like 5 a.m. instead of 5:30, because I literally
Oh,
have an hour to kind of rush everything in and like
yeah.
try to do stuff, and that's hard for Misfit because you're doing like an hour and a half roughly.
Oh my goodness. So did you do anything today? Did you do the?
No, I was
Okay.
driving. I
Oh,
so
that's right. You were
yeah.
gone. Okay, you were gone. I was gonna say, did you today's was tough.
Yeah. And
Oh wow.
so and like the week before that I was sick all week, so I didn't work
Oh,
out.
that's what you
So
guys, yeah.
yeah. So it was awful. But anyway, so I'm gonna be back on track. So
Good.
I got an
Good.
echo bike in my basement. So I'm like really excited to
Oh,
screw with
yeah,
that.
those are
So
great. That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah. I love
I
it.
tend to,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're getting close to the end. So I have some rapid fire questions, but they're not really rapid fire. So you can just take as long as you want with each question. So um do you have any goals for the rest of the year with your CrossFit core, I'm sorry, the Core City CrossFit kids, your personal life, or pretty much anything you want to talk about?
Well, my goal, my priority, well, it's both. My goal is to make it to semifinals for CrossFit for Masters.
Hmm.
I've aged up now, so I'm in 55. I've turned 55, so I'm at the very bottom of my age group. I would love to make it to semifinals in 2023 if I could. So we'll see
Hmm.
how that goes. I can make it to quarterfinals every year, but then can't seem to make it past that. It's just so competitive. People are so good.
Yep.
Um, and so we'll see. But that's one of the goals. And then obviously my priority with the kids is I want to expand. I really want to grow the program. I want to add more classes. I want more kids to come. I want, I have plans to incorporate like a mentoring program and be able to involve others and be able to have, like if we have kids that are struggling in a certain area, we can, connect them with somebody outside of fitness. If we see kids that are excelling, like and say they're excelling in Olympic lifting, I can connect them to an Olympic lifting coach and then be able to sponsor that kid through, Core City CrossFit Kids to be able to um, maybe further their, physical fitness in that particular field.
Hmm.
I would love to get some of my kids at the Pit Ranch in Three Rivers, Michigan. That's the big teen CrossFit teen competition.
Okay.
So that place is amazing. You need to check them out.
I will.
Um, they have an affiliate. I mean, this is CrossFit, affiliated. They are like, it's a designated event for just teens,
Oh,
and it's
that's cool.
sponsored by CrossFit. And it's amazing. This is a ranch, and it's like a whole like little mini CrossFit games just for 14-year-olds,
Hmm.
15, 16, 17-year-olds. So I would love to have some of my kids be represented there, and I would love some of my kids to be, represented in CrossFit. My goal is I would love to see more diversity in CrossFit, and I would like it to see CrossFit become more easily accessible to more people,
Hmm.
so more people can benefit from it.
I agree. I agree. I wish like more people knew about it instead of like,
Yeah.
because obviously like I've talked about it and like people are like, oh, don't you get hurt doing that? And I'm like, no.
Yeah,
It's like only if you do the form the wrong way, that's when you get
right.
hurt. And it's not like, and if you don't feel comfortable with the movement, just scale down. Everything's scalable.
Exactly.
It's easy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is so much easier than people think.
Yeah.
And I just, to me, I would love to see, more diversity there. I want to see more of my kids
Hmm.
doing it,
Yeah.
and 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 being familiar with it, and benefiting from it, and being able to do other sports if they want to, or do CrossFit as their sport, and just be able to excel there. So
Yeah.
those are my goals, is just being able to keep educating people and keep getting the word out and keep letting people know we're here and what we're doing and what we're all about. It's just important.
Yeah.
It's important, to make it accessible.
Yep. Completely agree. So next question, what is in your gym bag?
My gym bag.
Yes.
Oh boy, I've got my lifting shoes, my belt, um, my knee sleeves, my shin guards, tons of tape. I've got about 7 pairs of grips, because I think the more grips I have, somehow I will be able to do a muscle up. So I just keep buying more grips, and they're all the same brand. They're all Victory brand. I just need newer ones or something. I don't know, but there's about 7 pair. I'm not kidding you. And then wristbands. I have tons of deodorant in there, hair stuff, and that's about it, I think.
Okay. All right. Love
I
it. Love
think
it.
that's it. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. I interviewed Paige Smenza a while back
Oh
and
yeah, Peach is great.
yeah, so she I think if I recall, she did say she had 7 pairs of grips too as well
Oh, did she really? I'll see.
for like different things though. They're all for like each grip was for like, deadlifting or like,
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
So,
I wish I could say that. I think I just have one that's for the rings, and the rest I just keep switching, thinking this is going to help me better. This is going to do it.
yep, yep.
This
Yeah.
is too small. Let me try this one.
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
Yeah, always. All right, next question. I'm gonna go a little deep on this one. So, let's just say it's your last day on Earth, and you have all your friends around your bed and like your family members and stuff. How do you want people to know you as?
Um, I think I want them to remember me. Um, oh, man, this is a tough one. Is fearless, I think.
Okay.
That I would be, I guess fearless to me, I'm thinking not that I'm just not afraid and I would just do stupid things, but that even though I am afraid, because I'm afraid of a lot of stuff. You and I talked about it in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that won't stop me. That regardless of my fear, I'll either do the right thing
Yep.
or I'll do the thing that's best for me. So either way, I want people to know that, I would do that.
Okay.
I
Awesome.
think so. I hope they do. I don't know. That's deep. I could think of all these other things I'd want to be known as too, like someone who, cares and all that, of course, you know,
Well,
but
I really think everyone already knows that you care.
well, I hope so. But yeah, I think they would, but
Yeah.
I'm fearless. I'm sticking with it.
Okay. All right.
Right.
I like it. I like it. All right. So, where can people reach out to you if they have any questions about donating, any like clothing, shoes,
Oh,
whatever, or
yeah.
money? Like, where can they reach out to you?
So Core City CrossFit Kids does have a Venmo. So if they want to donate that way, Venmo, they can reach me at htaylor number 2 at att.net. And also Core City Fitness. We are a CrossFit affiliated gym, but because we went with fitness because again, most people do not know what CrossFit is where we're at.
Yep.
Fitness made it a lot more sense,
Hmm.
but we're still an affiliate. So they could look us up at Core City Fitness, and in the link in the tab is a separate website for my kids.
Okay.
So I'm there. So there's a website there. And Instagram, I don't care. People can message me on Instagram. Hey, I mean, look us up on Instagram, Core City CrossFit Kids. See what we're doing, see the kids that are there. People will fall in love. They're great kids. It's a great program. I'm so excited about it and I'm proud of it. And I'm just thankful to see it happening. It's
Hmm.
been a long road. It's been a long journey.
Yeah.
Didn't think it was going to be this hard, but it's hard. I thought it was going to be easy. Start a CrossFit Kids program. They're all going to come.
Yeah, that's like my t-shirt company. I'm like, oh, it's easy. It's t-shirts. You sell that. And
Yeah,
it's just like, oh, okay. It's getting a little harder.
yeah,
So,
exactly. And so it is tough. And that just kids will keep coming and benefit from what we do. Because
mhm.
you and I know the benefit of CrossFit. We've experienced it. We want them to experience it. I want them to know. I want all those kids that, are at the school or around me in the community I'm in, that if they hear CrossFit, they would be like, oh, I know what that is.
Mhm.
And they could describe it
Yep.
because I try to educate the kids on what it is. It's like I try to make it like a little mini um, L1 session with them. We sit around, we get a circle, get the PVC pipe, let's go.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
it's
Very cool.
fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for, doing this for me. I really do appreciate it. I loved hearing the whole, Core City CrossFit Kids thing. I think it's like super cool. And I love helping kids out too. Like that's, I think I'm just like, I don't know. For me, when I was working in the hospital in the emergency department, like especially in a children's hospital,
Yeah.
like they literally thought I was a superhero.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
and
Oh,
and just like
the
kind of like
love.
helping the kids and like, lighten up their day, that's like what I like doing too.
Yeah,
And, I like I said, I love hearing your story.
thank you.
Um, if anybody wants to donate anything, obviously go to Core City CrossFit Kids or even Venmo or whatever. Do what you can do.
Or even
And
even making like if you know somebody like a connection that
mhm,
I can reach out to, I'd be happy to do the work.
yeah,
There's someone that anybody knows out there.
yeah. All right.
So
Well,
thank you, thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you for doing this, and we'll talk later. Okay.
All right, thank you so much. Have a
All
good
right.
night.
You too.